how did you get into Dominatrix, and what is your likes and dislikes about it?
Well, I first got into it years ago, probably a couple years after I first started performing with Sideshow. When I was doing more burlesque shows, a lot of the other women and my friends in the scene, a lot of them were sex workers in all different shapes and forms. So some of them were dancers, some of them were doms. And a friend of mine at one of the shows worked at a dungeon downtown, and they had a client, and it was real easy. I was really young. I was probably barely 18. So I was like, I was really intrigued, but I was also a bit trepidatious about what I was getting myself into. So they had a party coming up for a dude that was a human carpet. And he was basically paying all of us, I don't know, like $500 to hang out while he was rolled up in a carpet that only had eye holes right here, like a slit that was cut open. So you couldn't see any of him except for that. You could walk on him, you could sit on him, you could do whatever you wanted. You also didn't have to. You didn't even have to walk on him or sit on him. And they provided like champagne and caviar and shit like that, which I don't eat caviar, but the champagne was good. And yeah, it was like me and 5 or 6 other girls. That was my first gig. And I was just like, oh, like this is not bad. You know, this isn't bad at all. So more after that, but I had a couple sessions that started to make me feel a little uncomfortable. This dungeon, initially I worked as a switch. So depending on what the client wanted, I would dom them. And I also tried subbing a couple times, which I quickly realized was not for me, especially in this environment. Because some of the dudes would try, you know, you're only in the room with you and the guy. There's people outside. But I found some of them would try to push boundaries and try to make me do things that I didn't want to do, and stuff like that. So I kind of got out of it again fairly quickly. But then I also started meeting more and more people and hanging around the scene more. And rather than doing dungeons, I started making more connections just on my own. And that worked out really well for me.
Okay.